Illinois real estate math questions. Question 1. An unlicensed assistant named Reese is asked to explain offer terms to a buyer at an open house. Why is that risky? Option A. Explaining or negotiating transaction terms can cross into licensed activity. Option B. Unlicensed assistants may perform every brokerage task if unpaid. Option C. Only title companies need real estate licenses. Option D. Licensed supervision converts negotiation into clerical work. The correct answer is option A. Explaining or negotiating transaction terms can cross into licensed activity. Unlicensed assistants may perform clerical or administrative tasks, but explaining terms, negotiating, or advising consumers may require a license. Being unpaid, supervised, or involved with a title company does not transform licensed brokerage functions into purely clerical work. Question 2. A buyer includes an appraisal contingency in a purchase agreement. What is the main purpose of that clause during Drew's Galesburg townhome file review? Option A. It automatically gives the broker ownership of the property. Option B. It gives the party a contractual condition that must be satisfied or waived under the agreement. Option C. It removes the need for mutual assent. Option D. It makes all deadlines meaningless. The correct answer is option B. It gives the party a contractual condition that must be satisfied or waived under the agreement. A contingency creates a condition that can affect whether the parties must proceed or may terminate under stated terms. It does not transfer ownership to the broker, replace mutual assent, or eliminate all contractual deadlines. Question 3. A rental property has NOI of $35,000 and a value estimate of $490,000. Approximately what capitalization rate is indicated during Hayden's Moline small apartment building file review? Option A, 3.6%. Option B, 10.1%. Option C, 7.1%. Option D, 14%. The correct answer is option C, 7.1%. The capitalization rate is NOI divided by value, so $35,000 divided by $490,000 is about 7.1%. The other answers have the rate, add unsupported points, or invert the formula. Stressed about your Illinois real estate exam? We can take Illinois real estate exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 4. Morgan signs an exclusive brokerage agreement and expects the broker to present offers and assist with negotiations. Which Illinois topic does this resemble during Parker's Quincy mixed-use storefront file review? Option A. A deed restriction created by neighbors. Option B. A mortgage acceleration clause. Option C. A tax appeal before the assessor. Option D. A minimum services and duties under brokerage agreements. The correct answer is option D. Minimum services and duties under brokerage agreements. Illinois state-specific outlines test brokerage agreements, exclusive agreements, and minimum services. Deed restrictions, mortgage acceleration, and tax appeals involve different legal concepts rather than brokerage-service duties. Question 5. A contract identifies land using a recorded plat description. Why are legal descriptions tested separately from street addresses during Reese's Waukegan vacant lot file review? Option A. A legal description is intended to identify the parcel with greater legal precision than a mailing address. Option B. Street addresses are always more legally precise. Option C. Legal descriptions are used only for personal property. Option D. A legal description replaces the need for a seller's signature. The correct answer is option A. A legal description is intended to identify the parcel with greater legal precision than a mailing address. Legal descriptions identify the land for conveyance and title purposes, while street addresses are often practical but less precise. They apply to real property, not personal property, and they do not replace signature and contract requirements. Question 6. A buyer obtains a loan of $247,500 on a property appraised at $330,000. Approximately what is the loan minus to minus value ratio during Alex's Belleville rental duplex file review? Option A, 25%. Option B, 75%. Option C, 85%. Option D, 60%. The correct answer is option B, 75%. Loan minus to minus value is calculated by dividing the loan amount by the appraised value, $247,500 divided by $330,000, or about 75%. The other percentages confuse equity with LTV or use an incorrect numerator or denominator. Question 7. A managing broker supervising Cameron discovers repeated advertising and trust minus account mistakes. Which responsibility is most directly involved? Option A, recording deeds for every buyer. Option B, issuing building permits. Option C, supervision of sponsored licensees and brokerage compliance systems. Option D, approving zoning variances. The correct answer is option C, supervision of sponsored licensees and brokerage compliance systems. Managing and sponsoring brokers are responsible for supervision, training, and compliance controls for sponsored licensees. Recording deeds, issuing permits, and approving zoning variances are handled by other parties or government offices. Question 8. A tenant with a disability requests a reasonable accommodation to use the rental property. How should the property manager analyze the request during Quinn's Springfield Suburban Ranch home file review? Option A, deny every accommodation to keep rules identical. Option B, approve only accommodations requested by owners. Option C, treat the request as an automatic eviction notice. Option D, evaluate whether the request is reasonable and necessary for equal use and enjoyment of the housing. The correct answer is option D, evaluate whether the request is reasonable and necessary for equal use and enjoyment of the housing. Fair housing analysis considers whether an accommodation is reasonable and related to the tenant's disability minus related needs. Blanket denial, owner minus only approval standards, or treating the request as eviction would conflict with the purpose of accommodation rules. Are you looking for Illinois real estate exam actual questions? Visit our website pokerexams.com to access Illinois real estate exam study guide with actual questions and answers. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get Illinois real estate exam answer key today. Question 9. A borrower pays 4 discount points on a $215,000 loan. How much do the points cost? Option A, $8,600. Option B, $4,300. Option C, $2,150. Option D, $9,600. The correct answer is option A, $8,600. 1 discount point equals 1% of the loan amount, so 4 points cost 4% of $215,000, or $8,600. The other figures use too few points, only 1 point, or add an unsupported amount. Question 10. A brokerage wants to operate a virtual office location for Illinois consumers. Which compliance focus best fits the licensing outline during Logan's Naperville farm parcel file review? Option A, avoiding all broker supervision because the office is online. Option B, registration, supervision, and public minus facing brokerage compliance for virtual or branch operations. Option C, replacing written brokerage agreements with website clicks only. Option D, advertising as an unlicensed technology company. The correct answer is option B, registration, supervision, and public minus facing brokerage compliance for virtual or branch operations. Virtual or branch operations still require appropriate brokerage supervision and compliance with licensing rules. Being online does not remove supervision, written minus agreement, licensing, or advertising requirements. Question 11. Logan is comparing loan terms and closing disclosures. Which federal lending framework is commonly tested with residential mortgage transactions? Option A, the statute of descent and distribution. Option B, the rule against perpetuities only. Option C, TRID and related TILA minus RESPA disclosure rules. Option D, a zoning variance issued by the City Council. The correct answer is option C, TRID and related TILA-RESPA disclosure rules. Residential mortgage questions often test TILA, RESPA, and integrated TRID disclosures that help borrowers compare costs and terms. The other choices deal with inheritance, property-law doctrines, or land-use approvals rather than consumer mortgage disclosure. Question 12. Annual property taxes are $3,480, and the seller owes the buyer a credit for 89 days using a 365-day year. Approximately how large is the credit during Harper's Bloomington 2-flat building file review? Option A, $290. Option B, $10. Option C, $1,697. Option D, $849. The correct answer is option D, $849. Daily proration divides $3,480 by 365 and multiplies by 89 days, giving about $849. The other choices use 1 month, 1 day only, or double the required prorated period. Question 13. A licensee knowingly misrepresents a material fact to induce a buyer to sign. Which licensing consequence is most relevant during Jamie's Champagne condominium unit file review? Option A, disciplinary action for unprofessional or dishonest conduct. Option B, automatic zoning approval. Option C, a mandatory title insurance payout. Option D, a tax proration credit only. The correct answer is option A, disciplinary action for unprofessional or dishonest conduct. Knowing misrepresentation can trigger discipline because it harms consumers and violates professional standards. Zoning approval, title insurance payout, and tax proration are unrelated remedies for this licensing misconduct. Question 14. A property manager named Cameron collects rents, screens tenants, arranges maintenance, and accounts for owner funds. Which duty is most central? Option A, guaranteeing that every tenant will renew. Option B, managing the property in the owner's interest while properly accounting for funds and records. Option C, commingling all rents with personal funds. Option D, ignoring fair housing laws during screening. The correct answer is option B, managing the property in the owner's interest while properly accounting for funds and records. Property managers owe duties tied to the management agreement, owner instructions, legal compliance, and accurate accounting. They cannot guarantee renewals, commingle funds, or ignore fair housing requirements while screening tenants. Question 15. A listing closes at $360,000 with a brokerage fee of 5.5%. What total commission is generated before any split? Option A, $9,900. Option B, $23,400. Option C, $19,800. Option D, $3,600. The correct answer is option C, $19,800. Commission is calculated by multiplying the sale price by the commission rate. $360,000 times 5.5% equals $19,800. The distractors divide the commission, use the wrong percentage, or calculate only 1% of the price. Question 16. A candidate is planning the broker exam schedule and wants to understand the Illinois-specific portion. How is the state portion commonly structured in the current SCI bulletin during Casey's Evanston mixed-use storefront file review? Option A, 100 questions with 150 minutes allowed and a 70% passing score. Option B, 50 questions with 120 minutes allowed and a 74% passing score. Option C, 90 questions with 150 minutes allowed and a 75% passing score. Option D, 40 questions with 90 minutes allowed and a 75% passing score. The correct answer is option D, 40 questions with 90 minutes allowed and a 75% passing score. The Illinois broker exam has a separate state portion listed as 40 scored points, 90 minutes, and a 75% passing score. The 100- question 150- minute format describes the national broker portion. The 50- question 120- minute option reflects residential leasing, and the 90- question format applies to a different examination category. Question 17. A broker representing Jamie receives confidential negotiating information. Which duty is most directly triggered? Option A. Protecting confidential information unless disclosure is authorized or legally required. Option B. Revealing all confidential strategy to the opposing party. Option C. Changing the purchase price without permission. Option D. Ignoring lawful client instructions. The correct answer is option A. Protecting confidential information unless disclosure is authorized or legally required. Agency and brokerage duties include protecting confidential information while also making required disclosures, revealing strategy, changing terms without authority, or ignoring lawful instructions would violate core client-service duties. Question 18. Avery passed the Illinois broker examination but delayed the license application for more than a year. What is the likely exam-related consequence? Option A. The score remains valid permanently. Option B. The passing examination result may no longer be usable for licensure. Option C. The candidate becomes licensed automatically. Option D. Only a name-change form is required. The correct answer is option B. The passing examination result may no longer be usable for licensure. The SI Bulletin states that candidates must apply for licensure within 1 year after passing the appropriate examination. A permanent score, automatic licensure, or a simple name-change form would not satisfy the application requirement after the score validity window has passed. Stressed about your Illinois real estate exam? We can take Illinois real estate exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 19. A study question asks whether an interest is fee simple. What is the candidate being tested on? Option A. The amount of commission owed to the broker. Option B. The mortgage interest rate. Option C. The nature and duration of rights held in real property. Option D. The required size of a residential disclosure form. The correct answer is option C. The nature and duration of rights held in real property. Estates and land describe the nature and duration of property rights. Commission, loan interest rates, and disclosure-form size are separate topics and do not define the estate itself. Question 20. An owner personally advertises and negotiates the sale of the owner's own single-family home. Why is this usually treated differently from brokerage for others? Option A. Every owner must hold a broker license before signing a deed. Option B. The owner is automatically sponsored by the buyer's broker. Option C. The owner may collect commissions from other sellers without a license. Option D. Owners may generally sell or lease their own property without acting as licensed brokers for the public. The correct answer is option D. Owners may generally sell or lease their own property without acting as licensed brokers for the public. Real estate license laws typically regulate brokerage services performed for others, especially for compensation. An owner selling the owner's own property is not thereby representing the public as a broker, while licensing would be required to collect commissions or broker transactions for other owners. Question 21. A buyer wants to operate a retail shop in a residentially zoned property in Quincy. Which issue should be investigated before closing? Option A. Whether zoning permits the intended use or whether an approval such as a variance is needed. Option B. Whether the deed automatically changes zoning. Option C. Whether the broker can override the ordinance. Option D. Whether title insurance guarantees business income. The correct answer is option A. Whether zoning permits the intended use or whether an approval such as a variance is needed. Zoning controls land use, so the buyer's intended use must be permitted or approved through the proper local process. A deed, broker preference, or title insurance policy does not automatically change zoning or guarantee business income. Question 22. Morgan posts a social media ad for a listing near Quincy using only a personal phone number and no brokerage identification. Which issue is most likely raised by Illinois advertising rules? Option A. A licensee may advertise without any broker identification online. Option B. Real estate advertising must identify the sponsoring brokerage in a compliant and not misleading way. Option C. Only print advertising must identify a broker. Option D. Brokerage identification is unnecessary if the property address appears. The correct answer is option B. Real estate advertising must identify the sponsoring brokerage in a compliant and not misleading way. Illinois advertising expectations focus on protecting the public from misleading ads and making the sponsoring brokerage clear. Online ads are still advertising, and the property address or a personal phone number does not replace proper broker identification. Question 23. A business offers to find apartments for renters in exchange for a fee. Why might Illinois licensing law be implicated during Hayden's-Moline single-family home file review? Option A. Rental-finding services are always exempt regardless of activity. Option B. Only sellers can trigger licensing law. Option C. Rental-finding services can involve regulated real estate activity when performed for compensation. Option D. The service becomes legal if no written records are kept. The correct answer is option C. Rental-finding services can involve regulated real estate activity when performed for compensation. Rental-finding and leasing-related services may be regulated when performed for compensation. The activity is not automatically exempt, licensing law is not limited to sales, and failing to keep records does not cure an unlicensed activity issue. Question 24. A listing broker learns of a recurring basement water problem before a buyer submits an offer. How should the issue generally be treated in an Illinois exam scenario during Parker's Quincy 2-flat building file review? Option A. It may be hidden if the seller requests silence. Option B. It is never relevant once the property is listed as -is. Option C. It must be disclosed only after the buyer obtains a loan. Option D. A known material fact should be disclosed rather than concealed. The correct answer is option D. A known material fact should be disclosed rather than concealed. Known material facts can affect a buyer's decision and should not be concealed. A seller's request, and as -is label, or the timing of financing does not eliminate the broker's duty to avoid misrepresentation and disclose material information. Question 25. A licensee knowingly misrepresents a material fact to induce a buyer to sign. Which licensing consequence is most relevant during Reese's Waukegan condominium unit file review? Option A. Disciplinary action for unprofessional or dishonest conduct. Option B. Automatic zoning approval. Option C. A mandatory title insurance payout. Option D. A tax prioration credit only. The correct answer is option A. Disciplinary action for unprofessional or dishonest conduct. Knowing misrepresentation can trigger discipline because it harms consumers and violates professional standards. Zoning approval, title insurance payout, and tax prioration are unrelated remedies for this licensing misconduct.